What up, Long Beach? Welcome back to your home for everything local sports. It's JJ.
And Mike. This video is brought to you by Naples Rib Company, the perfect place to cater your team's next event.
We are previewing the quarterfinals for the CIF Southern Section football playoffs. 9 local teams here in the greater Long Beach area still playing. We're going all Chrissy Hine because there are no more pretenders.
Obviously, St. John Bosco, the best team in our area, visiting Rancho Cucamonga in a battle of Division I teams. Rancho technically has a better record than Bosco at 11-1. The Braves are 9-2, but obviously Bosco has played several teams ranked in the national top 10, so you forgive them the 2 losses, and you certainly like the way they sit coming into this one.
Rancho Cucamonga, number 8 in California according to Max Preps. They lost to Upland, but they've only given up 112 points all season. So that defense against the highly talented Bosco offense is going to be the key matchup. Look out for number 8 senior outside linebacker Roy Wiley, over 100 tackles, 9 sacks on the season, and an active Rancho Cucamonga defense. 8 different players have interceptions in the secondary.
A lot of Braves fans and I would say these 2 reporters already looking ahead to Bosco Corona Centennial next week. That's because the Braves are looking for a 6th consecutive quarterfinals win, and in that time, over the last 5 years, they've outscored opponents 233-59. By the way, they did win the coin flip, so Bosco would host Corona Centennial in the semifinals.
We've mentioned multiple times this season how different this team is from the CIF Southern Section and State champions from last year. In 2016, Bosco averaged 208 yards passing per game, 283 yards rushing per game. In this 2017, they are averaging 276 passing yards per game and 173 rushing yards per game. The reason for that? Go DJ, that's the DJ.
DJ Nguilele in 5 games is 92 of 143, that's 64% for 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. He also has 2 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. He's the best sophomore quarterback in the country, and he is an absolute stud who, yeah, you introduce a piece like that to your offense and you don't change your offense, you're doing it wrong.
That game is way out there in the IE, Rancho Cucamonga, so if you want to follow our live score updates, you do so on Twitter.
We have another video up talking about Long Beach Poly's old school classic with modern day, so be sure and check that out. But the 9-2 Jackrabbits hosting the undefeated number 1 Monarchs, trying to pull off a big upset, but it's going to be tough against a modern day team that looks like they've certainly got the number 1 offense in the country and perhaps the number 1 defense as well.
Quarterback JT Daniels, 73% completion this year, over 3,000 yards passing and 39 touchdowns. Those are just crazy good numbers, so that Long Beach Poly defense is going to have to make some big plays against those big boys up front from modern day.
Speaking of a team that's been known for making big plays down in the Division 4 playoffs, Downey is going to be visiting Corona Del Mar. They'll be playing that game at Newport Harbor High School. Downey kind of a tale of 2 seasons, sort of ending at that Paramount game and then the second half taking place after that game.
Multiple blowout wins since that disappointing loss to the Pirates in what really was the San Gabriel Valley League championship game. Downey playing very well right now on offense, but their defense is going to have to show up big on Friday night at Newport Harbor High School to stop this CDM offense. CDM lost their opener to J. Sarah 45-27. They are on a 10-game winning streak since then, during which they outscored their opponents 462-143. That's a lot of points and a lot of yards, over 450 yards of total offense per game. So Downey has got to have a bullseye on senior quarterback Nathaniel Espinoza.
He's got over 2,000 passing yards with 27 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Obviously a tough task for the Vikings. The first place SGVL team who came out on the other side of that dramatic championship game, Paramount, who is going to be visiting the mighty Pumas of Chaparral, JJ.
Ah, my alma mater Chaparral got real good at football as soon as I left.
Weird coincidence. I don't know what that's about.
New. The Pumas do have 2 great offensive linemen, Justin Diedrich and Steve Jones, lead a rushing attack that averages over 200 yards on the ground. We've talked so much about the Paramount defense this year, another huge challenge for the Pirates.
Well, we're going to find out what's what in this game for sure. That defense led by sophomore Jerry Ching, 19 tackles for a loss this year, and the junior Deontay Livingston, who's got 108 tackles and 10 tackles for a loss. But I think we all know in the playoffs, especially when you go on the road, the key is going to be how much yellow these Pirates are seeing.
Paramount has had a problem in big games in recent years under Matt Howard, where penalties, shooting themselves in the foot, has really caused them to play catch-up to more disciplined teams. If that starts to happen in a game like this, where you're traveling a really far way to play in front of refs who've never seen you play before, you've got to make sure you keep your composure early on.
Obviously, Paramount wants to raise the pirate flag, not run the yellow flag up that the mast of that ship. Talking about a couple lower division games, we've got two defending lower division champions in Valley Christian and St. Anthony. Valley Christian going to be hosting Antelope Valley in the second of our home games. St. Anthony is going to be visiting Burroughs out there by Death Valley. That is quite a drive for the Saints. By the way, the Burroughs, the mascot is the Burroughs, the school name is the Burroughs.
That's a real thing.
I'm not a fan. Austin Griffin, why not Austin Burroughs? 2,244 yards passing, 51% completion with 10 interceptions. So the Saints defense will have its opportunities to get up there and pick it off. If you're Valley Christian, the guy you're looking to stop is Antelope Valley sophomore running back Jermaine Marshall, who's got 1,184 yards on 7 yards per carry and 17 touchdowns this year.
Quarterback's going to be key for both of those defending champions. Valley Christian, Isaac Joseph. These Crusaders can just outscore Antelope Valley at home, which is what they did in the playoffs last year at St. Anthony, going up against a guy who throws it a lot like Griffin. It's going to be a good sign if Deshaun Harvey, the St. Anthony quarterback and defensive back, doesn't have to play defense a lot on Friday night. If he has to play a lot of defense, the Saints might be in trouble. Also in that Division 8 bracket alongside Valley Christian is Milliken. The Rams won their first playoff game in 31 years last week, and they're going to be visiting a very good 9-2 Grace Brethren team. This is a battle of two great offenses. Milliken's outscored opponents 398 to 184 and are coming off of 7 straight wins. They have yet to lose on the road. Grace Brethren has outscored opponents 409 to 159 with 7 straight wins as well. Grace Brethren also averaging over 250 yards rushing per game, so Nick Lombardi, Jason Skinner, the Rams front 7 are going to have their hands full, and they could win that game for Milliken. Well, if they do, it'll be the first time Milliken's been to the semifinals since they won the CIF championship against Compton in 1981, and yes, that feels like it was 36 years ago. Valley Christian and Milliken in Division 8. We just brought up St. Anthony and Mayfair are in Division 9. Mayfair, one of the favorites of Division 9, 10-1 this year. They are at Woodbridge, 8-3 on Friday night. Mayfair going to have their hands full with the quarterback at Woodbridge, Nick Nash, a dual threat to be sure, because he's over 1,000 yards passing and rushing with 28 total TDs. Not a lot of times you see a quarterback go over 1,000 yards passing and rushing in a season. I think the other thing I would just say about this game is that the CIF randomness of the home and away rule giveth and it taketh away. If you're Long Beach Poly, it's great to be hosting #1 Mater Dei, who's undefeated and absolutely have earned the right to a home game. If you're Mayfair, it's a real bummer to be 10-1 and as good as they've been this year and have to travel to Woodbridge in the second round to take on a good offense. Last but certainly not least, Division 10, GAR is going to be at home hosting Dos Pueblos. Both of the Pueblos had 10 wins this year, the undefeated champions of the Channel League. So is that 10 wins or is that 20 wins? I guess since they call it Dos Pueblos, it just counts as the one. DP lost their opener to San Juan Hills by 3 points. They've won 10 straight since, outscoring opponents 445 to 115. The question is, have they faced anyone like Mekhi Bernard, junior sensation, who is averaging 9.6 yards per carry and has 2,313 yards and 25 touchdowns this year? It's all going to be up to Deuce if he gets off. Look out for the Gladiators headed into that semifinal round. Lots of great games going to be going on. We have got reporters at every single one of them except St. Anthony. We will be following that one on Twitter and tweeting live updates from the Saints and everyone else around the area. You obviously want to be checking all of those at PT Gazette Sports to find out what's going on. Thanks to all of our sponsors, including Papalucci's, a great place to eat on 2nd Street. All of your high school football coverage is always right here. GazetteSports.com and the Press Telegram.